Welcome to the Movie Matchmaker podcast, where we help people find movies they'll love at first watch. I am your host and movie matchmaker, Jailon Williams. And to the left of me is a woman who makes me zoom, 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 and my heart go boom, boom, my supernova girl. It's Jackie.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm so sorry. There it is.
I think she might be filing papers soon. If you don't
I love that movie and I love that reference.
If you don't hear from me after this podcast, or if there's no future episodes in the next month or so, you know why. All right. Great intro, babe. All right, let me introduce my my next guests here. So my next guests are also huge fans of horror and movies in general. One of them has been my wife longer than my actual wife has. Sorry, sweetie. We spent many a Monday at the West Wind Drive-In and the Palms Theater, where we've seen movies like Kubo and the Two Strings, Don't Breathe, and Ben-Hur. God, I hate that movie.
I hate that movie. It was the worst movie.
And although I've only known our second guest for a brief amount of time, it feels like I've known her forever. She's got a great laugh and a thirst for horror.
Yeah, it is.
Please welcome my two new lovebirds.
Oh.
It's Kiwi and Barb.
It's us. It's us. Not us being birds.
What type of birds do you think you are?
Ooh. Well,
The type of birds I'm not.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
A seagull.
There.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Not the first bird I was thinking. I was thinking the pigeon baby first.
Yeah,
You
I
hate
can't be
seagulls
no
or
pigeon.
pigeons more?
She hates seagulls for sure.
Or any type of goose
Goose?
related.
Yeah.
Wow.
Facts.
Swans?
Can't stand a goose.
Are swans like goose?
It doesn't matter. I don't.
Just the long neck.
I think
Just a
it's
long
the-
neck
It's
bird.
the long neck bird.
Emus. That's not a bird.
East
They're really
Coast,
big.
they're very
And they're
aggressive.
dangerous, dude.
Dude,
Don't let it fool you.
we
But
went-
what about a flamingo?
No, that's too big. From afar.
Do you know that they choose to stand on one foot? They don't have to.
That's a flex. Not only are you
It's all-
pink, but you standing on
And
one
they're
foot.
born,
Gray.
yeah, like a grayish brown. Not pink.
That's because they eat all them scrimp.
No, that's really what it is.
They eat all
I'm sure it is, but I just wasn't expecting that fact.
the scrimp.
Scrimps.
That's what makes them
I
all
love
pink.
scrimp.
How are you two doing today?
Doing great.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, we had a good morning.
my
Lovebirds.
goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Early bird gets the worm, huh?
Every time.
Every time. All right, so here's today's agenda. We're going to talk about horror movies because obviously October is horror movie Halloween month.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about black horror or black people horror movies. We're gonna discuss that little relationship, and then we're going to discuss the two movies that we watched over this week, technically yesterday. Mr. Crocket and The Blackening.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that. So when we talk about horror movies, I discussed, or last time I was here with Sam and Gilbert, I asked them what their favorite horror movies were and, how they kind of got into that. What was your introduction into horror? What was the first thing that you remember? When you think about your first memory with horror, what comes to mind?
I grew up in a household that loved it. Like my mom,
Really?
my mom was very big on scary movies, and my brothers, and I was the very impressionable young child that believed everything.
Yeah.
Like I have a very active imagination, so I didn't know this stuff wasn't real. So
Facts.
watched a lot of like Tales of the Crypt and Chucky and remember that weird Disney boogeyman?
Disney Boogeyman?
It was, okay. So it was like a Disney movie, but he was a boogeyman. He was black. He was like this
Racist.
black.
Racist. It was like,
It was
they're
really-
moving
it was,
in.
yeah,
they're
yeah.
moving into our neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're just locking the
Now,
car doors.
now he's
and
in
stuff
our
like that.
rooms.
Right, right.
It's like,
Was it white people he was after?
Of course it was.
yeah.
We gotta find this movie. So it's a black boogeyman. Keep going. I
Yeah,
need to
so
hear about
it's
this.
like he's like a teenage boogeyman kind of vibe, and yeah, and he like is coming like through the floor and all the stuff, and he has like a purple hue to him. He has these crazy like green neon eyes and like crazy teeth and stuff, and it terrifies
And it's a Disney
me.
Channel
And it's a
movie.
Disney Channel
Original?
movie.
It's an original?
Yeah, it's the original.
Is this Don't Look Under the Bed?
Yeah, I think it's Don't Look. Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
seen it.
and he pulls this kid into the like underworld or like night.
Okay,
I don't
sure.
know, nighttime, whatever the
I
hell.
get it. The upside
And-
down, maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Right.
it's almost like a play on like a Beetlejuice kind of vibe. Like, oh, help
I
me
ain't even seen
solve these.
Beetlejuice.
Oh. I just
But I get it.
oh, cool,
Got it.
cool.
Sure.
But it's just it was stuff like that. And my brothers used to like constantly play tricks on me. Would have like a Chucky doll sitting in the hallway or like play as the boogeyman, and like I was always terrified.
Wow.
So I gave up on scary movies for a long time because I was tired of it. You know, Final Destination was enough. Like,
I talked about that
yeah.
last episode too.
like that was enough for me. 'Cause-
Traumatizing.
Yeah, and then Freddy Krueger, I would feel like was my biggest monster.
Haven't seen one of those, but I get it. I get I think the concept alone was pretty scary. I was like,
Yeah.
I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Because how do you run?
Yeah.
You know, and your dreams are so real.
Yeah.
So it's like I was terrified. Yeah,
Mhm.
so that was
Wow.
my like big introduction.
What's funny is that I wouldn't expect that with the news, or I wouldn't expect that given the news that I got yesterday about how your family gives Jesus a birthday.
Yeah,
cake
they give Jesus a birthday cake at every Christmas.
That just seemed like they're very religious, so I just
Yeah.
wouldn't assume
Yeah.
that you guys would be watching movies like that.
I would say like my mom has definitely like pulled back from it from when we were younger. Like she more scary movies are now dealing with like spiritual aspects. So now she's really pulled away from it. But back in the day when she was growing up, like scary movies and horror was just like slasher films and like
Yeah.
a serial killer or a monster or something like physical, like embodiment coming to attack you. It wasn't so much of like possession and like someone doing a spell or someone picking up something and now the whole family's cursed. So I think when it started turning that road, she's like, oh, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah,
you know?
I hear you.
So,
Okay. Okay. What about you, Barb? What was your introduction into the horror landscape?
I was 7.
Oh,
Been watching horror since I was 7.
what was the movie that got you into it?
The Exorcist.
Oh my goodness! You started off strong.
Yeah,
Oh
very
my
strong.
goodness.
And still to this day, I think through the entire movie, I've only seen it in its entirety probably maybe twice.
What were you watching this alone? Like
I
what-
was.
You just
Yeah.
So strong I was.
so it's just a Friday night. You're like, need something to watch.
Why
Pick up The
not?
Exorcist.
Why not?
I think my mom was more like, well, if you want to watch it, go ahead. Like, you're going to
Wow.
watch it. Don't come crying to me when you're scared.
Wow.
And I think that just kick-started it
You're like, all right,
for
well.
me.
I was
And
never
then I
that bold.
became obsessed
What
from
a daredevil.
Yeah.
very young age.
And so when you say that you've only seen it all the way through twice, does that mean that this movie terrifies you still?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. Man, so
It's one of the few that can.
yeah. Wow. Is it as realistic as people say it is? I think. Because I still haven't seen it myself.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen a lot of stuff.
I think it's such a different take on possession, the way that they did it. And I think now all of the movies after try to find like that niche that The Exorcist did. It does have like a few kind of cheesy moments where you're like, yeah, okay. But I think just the tone of it is really terrifying
Oh,
and creepy. Very creepy movie.
Might have to check that out. Maybe next year during October.
October.
I've been watching I've watched like maybe 10 horror movies this month. So
Really?
Really?
yeah, like because we were doing my movie club is doing like watching 2 movies a week. So like each week we're watching stuff. So, but yeah, Is The Exorcist your favorite horror movie?
I would say it's one of my favorites. As I've gotten older, I've started getting more into like psychological horror and thriller, which is why I was telling her that when we started this, we were talking about this today, I was going to let everyone know that I'm very biased.
She's very biased
about certain things.
Very biased.
Let's hear it. What are you biased about? Exactly?
It takes a lot to really get me to the point that I'm scared.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that I'm starting to learn that as well with watching these movies.
I think a lot of it has to really make me like mentally kind of trip out a little bit in order for it to stick. So if I'm not talking about it when I'm leaving the theater, trash. It's just like, all right.
So that is that what you look for in a horror movie? You actually look to be like broken in a way,
yeah. Which is why I'm such a big fan of Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Okay.
Because anytime I watch anything that he does, I always notice something else or how that fits into something else. And that's what keeps it going for me. Slasher movies for me, as iconic as they are really repetitive in a lot of the things that they're doing. So it's like, cool. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I know that every single movie is going to be the exact same thing to an extent.
And that's funny because like do you find Jordan Peele's horror movie scary in a way, or is it more just from like a directing standpoint that you really like?
The directing standpoint to me,
okay.
I feel like when you watch them, because one of my favorites is Us, and I just feel like just the whole concept of it really makes you think, and that's what creeps me out the most about it. Because it's like, oh well, there's always all these talks of like underground tunnels and all this other stuff, and you know what I mean. So it's not just someone chasing someone else and killing them for an hour and 30 minutes, and then we're done.
Yeah.
So
I need to rewatch that. I've only seen it once, and I kind of left the theater being like, that was okay, but like you said, the more you watch stuff, the more you notice, the more you can try to find like a deeper appreciation for it. So Kiwi, what is your favorite horror movie? Do you have one?
Ooh, I feel like I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite. I would say from this year alone, I definitely like The Substance, although it wasn't really considered horror. But it was definitely body gore to the max. Like it was
really
I've been hearing good things.
Really good movie.
But it's a really good movie. I love like everything about it. Like the plot, and that's kind of something we were talking about, is like I probably love it so much because the story makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like a horror movie. I don't really like many movies where nothing makes sense. Like something's got peace. Like we watched Cuckoo. Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
We watched Cuckoo, and although it was like filmed so beautifully and it had really good moments in it, like it took too long for me to get to the point of like, oh, he's like mimicking like this bird, like the cuckoo bird.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I think we had to Google that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Almost. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. Because if you don't know that many things about a cuckoo bird.
If you're not a bird watcher.
Yeah, right. Like, how am I supposed to know?
Birding himself.
Yeah. It wasn't like they had the bird throughout the movie a bunch. It wasn't even like he was like a bird, like,
he wasn't
enthusiast.
Doing that weird little neck thing.
It wasn't like he was walking around with feathers. Yeah. So, like, it was like, what's going on? So then I would say, like, Substance is my top. I would think I walked out the theater, like, already in love with it. Like, can't wait for it to stream so I can watch it again. And then,
you really like Strange Darling.
I really like Strange Darling. Yeah, it was a movie about...
Well, don't give it away.
Yeah,
too much.
I don't want to give it away too much. Okay. It's hard. But
thanks, Kiwi.
Yeah.
Moving on.
But no, it was really good. I liked the way it looked. And I definitely enjoyed how the storyline played out. I figured it out fairly early on, I will say, but I still wasn't sure.
Yeah.
So I like that. And I would say from this year, those would kind of be my tops. And of course, Long Legs. Long Legs was really, really good.
What horror movie do you find yourself just going back to like over and over again? If you have one.
Almost anything Jordan Peele.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, to be quite honest, it's just great.
Yeah.
I feel like something that I go back to a lot is the Jason series, because Jason is like, he's like my favorite. Yeah. That dude is a monster, man. Yeah. I love it. And then I would also say, I don't know. It takes me a lot to go back to a movie because I have such a photographic memory. If
yeah.
I'm watching it, it's probably because of how pretty it is or how much I like the way it looks. And for me, that I will go anime with that. Like if there is, I know that's crazy, but they do have
go
like
ahead.
horror or kind of like scary anime. If
Have you seen Uzumaki?
Yeah.
Was that so? Ryan had actually sent me a trailer for that, and before it came out, and I said, "What the fuck? This looks twisted as fuck."
Yeah.
The fucking spiral coming out of the head, the eyeball like kind of leaking and stuff, and every time I go on Max, I see it, and I'm just like, "Not today."
Just
Maybe later.
Just go for it. Just go for it. Like I love Korean and Japanese and Chinese like horror because they just think differently.
Yeah, they do.
So
definitely.
like their monsters don't look like our monsters. Like our monsters
Not
is
as
always
mainstream.
Yeah, like our monster's always like big, like a really big guy or a really small, like you know what I'm saying?
Leprechaun.
Like, yeah, like yo, Leprechaun terrified me as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Leprechaun was that.
You know, as you all of you all know, I was raised in a religious household. Not that you weren't, but I was as well. And they weren't allowing that. I got into the game way late,
way.
I couldn't even watch Halloween Town. You know what I mean? Like,
What?
so,
I could at least watch
Not a
Halloween
Disney
Town. Yeah.
Channel original.
they said witches demonized. Yeah, it was
No, Leprechaun.
yeah.
But Leprechaun was terrifying. I was very much afraid of things that was my size because we could fight. Like, so Chucky, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would be a fist fight. That's not like just a kick and run away. Like, I'm going to have to, like, duke up with, like, a Leprechaun.
He's just, like, slapping you without jumping. He's just...
Yeah, like, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, who's going to protect me?
Right.
You know, like, that's, and there was, like, one, I guess to answer your question, what's something that I always go back to? I can't remember what it was on. I do believe it was like Tales of the Crypt. And there was a lady, one of the stories was like this white lady goes into this African shop to buy a birthday gift for like one of her friends or something along the lines and end up getting this African doll. And she took it back to the house, and of course it was cursed. And the lady, like when she was buying it, the black lady was all like, "Ooh, you might want to be careful. The spirits of the dog," kind of thing.
They said it was cursed because it was African.
That's what it was.
Racist.
Racist. This is you see the running
Racism
thing.
is laced throughout the horror. Can't you
Everything.
see that, brother?
You know what I'm saying? But it was like she got it back to the house. And it came to life, and it was like smacking this bitch like all the way through. My bad.
Oh, well, no, it's okay. You get
But it
crazy. I just expected to haunt her, you know, close a few doors, you know, lift a table.
Immediately got to, it like
right across the
came
face.
to life and chose violence, like immediately. And it was like attacking her through her house and all this stuff. And I'm terrified as a child. And like towards the end of it, she like gets the doll and like throw it into the oven, set it on fire, and it's like,
She got a fireplace?
Yeah, she didn't have no fireplace.
She got to wait for it to preheat?
Yeah.
Like, dang, man, this thing haunting me. But
I guess it was already on because she was making a birthday cake for,
making a birthday cake.
And so she like throws it in there. And the thing,
So she tried
like,
to fool it. She was just like, "Oh no, Mrs. Spear,
don't
I'm
worry
just
about
making a
it.
birthday cake.
I just need to frost this cake real quick.
Right.
Let me take it out the oven." Yeah.
You fool! My trap card. That's so wild.
And so she like closes it and it's like on fire and it's melting and all this stuff and it's like this big grandiose thing and it's like, oh, I'm like as a child like, oh, thank God, like, you know,
Thank God that white woman was saved from that mean African spirit.
Thank God she just fixed the problem for all of us. Like now none of us have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? In my
She's
mind,
like dabbing herself off with a wet rag.
Yeah.
Just oh my God, the perspiration.
in my childlike mind, it wasn't like, oh, I'm glad this white lady did this for us. It was like, there's not another villain my size I gotta fight. Like that's another one off the roster. You know, I'm worried about the cards stacking up. I already gotta beat up Chucky. I gotta beat up Leprechaun.
Chucky is surprisingly tall for like a doll. It's not like Barbie size.
Yeah.
Like
No.
there was one in there was a actual Chucky doll in the Zia Records that's near my house. I mean, it was sitting on a shelf, but like it The thing was like,
Huge.
it was pretty sizable, pretty good size. So I'm like, okay, if I had to fight this might be a problem because it got some meat to it. You know
That's what I'm
what
saying. He's not just no skinny dog.
Yeah.
I already thought about this because I was tiny. I was like, this is gonna be a fight, you know. But
exactly.
in the movie, she kills it, and then it comes back out all like melted and stuff, and it like stabs her to death and drags her body like out
Into
the
the
house.
Oh, that's impressive.
okay.
Yeah, no, out the house. And then I was like, so what happens? Because it just like the roll the credits of it like pulling it out, and I'm like, what?
It slayed the entire town.
The
one by one.
I was like, where did it go?
Like, where's the next white woman at?
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Checking the
Like,
phone book.
yeah, it's just like, ding, 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 ding,
Like
ding.
Deborah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's one for sure.
And I think my mind goes back to it because my aunt ended up getting an African doll for her birthday from my grandfather. And we shared a room at the time because my aunt was in college. So she would like just come up to the city sometimes. So we just shared a room. So we
Yeah.
whatever.
You know.
And then one day I'm like laying in bed. I look up, I was like, what the? Like,
It's like staring, it's watching you as you move your head.
who is that? Like,
Right.
and it's like sitting up there is like, and it looked just like it, man. I promise it looked just like it. And I used to climb up, and I would like be like shaking the whole time because my aunt had this really like high computer desk, and it went like all the way up to the top. So I had to literally climb this thing, and I'm just like, please don't kill me. Just please don't like come to life yet. Like I used to try to get it before the moon come out.
You're like giving it offerings.
Yeah.
Well, here's some sweet potato pie.
Like
Here's some jollof rice.
whatever you need.
Right,
Here's some
right.
goat. You
Right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Whatever you
Want
need.
curry?
We want some curry.
You just every morning you just like
Tell
bow
me.
into it.
Tell me.
That's wild.
But I used to like try to catch it before the moon came out. Like maybe the moon was what activated. Like I remember
Oh, my
rewatching the thing. Like what
You
was
just
it?
studying it.
What was
Write
it?
that down. Write that down.
Yeah. And I would move it. So I would take it off the little stand and move it in different parts in the room.
You probably saved your own life.
I
That's real
thought I
powerful.
did, and me and my aunt talked about it like 2 years ago, and she was dying laughing on the phone because I was like, it always came back up by the morning, like by the
She was like,
morning
"I was
time.
putting it back up."
She was putting it back up the whole time. So in my mind, I was like, this thing is like I would put it in a hamper. I was like putting it
She's
in
like finding it.
yeah, she was finding it. She was like,
Why didn't she say anything?
she just thought in her mind, she thought like I was playing with it and like would
Not
forget it
putting it away.
and not putting it away. When in all honesty, I was trying to save my life.
And
It's
creating your own childhood trauma, which is
Communication
take on
is
that.
key.
It's crazy. She was
So
like, "Oh
cute.
my God, you did that for so long." Yeah, Laura is wrapped up in pillowcases and like, what makes you? What kind of game would I be playing if I'm like,
So, Kiwi's having a good time.
yeah, like,
Oh, look at
oh
her.
look at her play mummy again, like, and I'm like burying
loves
this
that
terrified,
doll.
right?
She gives it to you as a present for your birthday. I know you
really
always play
traumatized-
with this thing, so
It probably traumatized me. It's probably in the will. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just
I bequeath my ancient African artifact to Kiwi.
back to me. Like, goddamn.
Have
But
fun.
no, I mean, that will be like, I don't even know what is on. I do believe it's like a Tales of the Crypt episode or something along the lines. Well,
And you actually explained something kind of funny because when we talk about childhood trauma, because like I was afraid of my grandparents' house, as I've said, like literally every episode on this podcast. But I told them that. They said, I didn't know you was afraid. I was like, what? You didn't realize I was out of breath sprinting from the basement when you actually go get like a frozen gallon of milk?
so
I'm
scary.
sprinting. They had this big old yellow freezer. It was like the whole thing was. It looked like a fridge, but the whole thing was freezer.
Mm-hmm.
They had frozen breads, milks, meats.
You got to keep it frozen.
Yeah, you got to keep it frozen.
That's how you- that's how you
That's how you
keep
get the
it.
deals.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that's
get
how
the
you do
deals.
it.
So I'm sprinting. They don't know something. They're like, thank you. They don't care.
You forgot the bread.
Shut up. Right. I'm like, you go get it. I was like, what? Why is this man crying so hard? Yeah, he just lazy. He just lazy.
He just lazy.
Shame on you. Shame.
Darn
It's
Nintendo
for shame.
making all the
Right,
kids
right, right.
lazy.
Go bring me that Nintendo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Snaps it in half over this like, like granddad, he's so strong. Man.
Taking the cartridges and just
Right,
like
right.
crumbling it in his hand.
One hand. Get that grandpa grip. He just-
Mario Kart.
Grandpa grip.
Right. You know how old people got that
They
grip?
got a grip,
You know how old people, they just be having a certain grip to them. Like, they just be doing a lot of manual labor. So you know that they got like a...
Built railroads.
You like try to take... They
Never
try to
leaves. The
you
strength
try to
never leaves.
relinquish yourself from them, but they just like... They just still holding. They just...
But how can you with those type of grips?
Exactly. Vice grips. All right. That was fun. So We were talking about this a little bit last week, but the reason we decided to do the movies that we decided to do, Mr. Crocket and the Blackening, was on this idea of just talking about Black horror films and how they're few and far between. I mean, like before Jordan Poole, I don't really know if there were any. Not that I did any research, which I probably should have. My bad. But I don't. At least as far as America goes, there isn't a lot of that going on. So I wanted to get your take on why you think that is, and what can we do to change it? Maybe not change it. I mean, I mean, if you don't have an idea, that's fine. I get it. But like,
We're trying to change the world.
Yeah. One Black horror movie at a time.
Why
it's not represented enough? I don't know, but that is something that we always talk about.
Yeah, we always talk about it.
I think sometimes we don't like to go too much outside of the box
Mm-hmm.
on certain things. And then when we do, we're worried about everyone's opinion.
What do you think? So when I was watching The Blackening this morning, I was thinking like, is it like a religious thing? Because
I think it's a religious thing.
A lot of Black people are really stooped in Christianity and don't believe in all that devil shit.
Yeah.
And want to keep it out of their lives, or is it because like, or is it just like I actually did a teeny little bit of research, and what Google was saying is that it might be misery theater or like Black trauma. So like people don't want to actually see, Black people being killed all the time and all this other stuff. So
that actually makes a lot of sense.
And for me, it's just like I maybe, but like I don't think that it doesn't feel like. So I get it because there's a lot of Black trauma movies. Like I still won't watch like Queen and Slim because of how like that movie ended.
Yeah.
But like horror movie is kind of like fantasy in a way. Like it don't have to be The Strangers.
But there's not a lot of Black people even in fantasy.
Yeah.
That's true. I feel like we get very boxed into the only way we would get an audience is if we're telling a specific story or if we're presenting a certain way. We know that no one is going to come watch a fantasy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like even in written media, we don't have like a lot of like Black authors that does fantasy or like, can you imagine if Game of Thrones was done by someone African American or someone of color? You know what I'm saying? And like how that will represent. I feel like we're very forced to look through like a certain lens just to get an audience. Like even when it comes down to, I know we've been dropping his name a lot, but even when it comes down to Jordan Peele's like movies a lot, I feel like a lot of people wanted to watch it because of what he has already done with Keenan, or is it like Keenan and Peele? And like what he did comedically. So to say like, oh, now he's doing like a scary movie, everyone's like, well, I wonder how that's gonna turn out. And he had to like almost like prove someone wrong. And then it's even the same in music. It was funny, we were talking about it in office because someone brought up how Beyonce did the country album and how like a lot of people in the country like music space
industry
was upset that she was even considered for like certain awards at the Country Music Awards because she's just jumped in. And I was like, that's kind of crazy for y'all to say because Taylor Swift jumped to pop. Like Taylor Swift was country for however long. And then someone was like, well, it's kind of different because country and pop is kind of the same. And it's like, why are you mad at Beyonce? Because, if you saying like, it's the same thing, like at one point Beyonce and Taylor Swift was in the same category for the same award, So if Taylor Swift could do it, why is it a problem that Beyonce's doing it, and it's just kind of one of those things like we have to always stay in our lane and where we would get beat down before we get to a certain level.
But like, I get that, but is horror movie like crazy lucrative? You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
Like, you think it's more lucrative than action movies?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think just like any other type of movie, it creates a fan base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like I'm a big Star Wars fan, you know,
Same.
so it creates a fan base. And then, you know, everything is just so much word of mouth. Oh, have you seen this? And then just like Terrifier, like, I'm not a fan of clowns, but I watched it and I ended up loving it and was like, oh, great. Now, look, you have another fan. So I think it just takes, you know, that little bit to.
I do feel like I think we were watching something, or we went somewhere because we just recently did a horror con too. And they were talking about the type of money it brings in. Like it could be 300 mil, 400 mil, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's a lot of money.
A lot of dough.
And I do think it's another money thing because honestly, like horror plays on the imagination of what people wish they could be doing or what they fantasize about, or you want to see like some creepy stuff no one has ever mentioned before. Like horror has the daunting task of presenting something new every time versus like action. Although you kind of want to do something different, but it's always like, oh, I'm just going to be beating this man up, or I'm always going to whatever.
Yeah.
And they will throw a Sharknado in there, or
Velocipaster.
like just something crazy. Like you just need one factor of an action movie to be different in order to bring an audience. You know, like the Fast and Furious series had them going to space in a Pontiac. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's like,
did that actually happen?
Don't get me started.
I don't watch
Fast
those movies.
9.
Yeah.
They went to space.
They went to space.
Yeah. Fast 9.
It's like, look, that's what I'm saying. It was wild.
Okay.
But they don't really need too much to bring an audience other than like certain action packs, you know what I'm saying? But like with horror, like we want to see you kill somebody differently, or we want to see you like split somebody in half,
or be scared of some type of
or
new
be
way.
scared of like.
I think that's why Terrifier does so well because it's gory, but it's like a campy gory. And I also think that he has a different take. There is no plot. Like, whereas
no
like
plot.
Jason is all revenge because they made fun of him when he was a child, and
Stop
Michael
bullying
Myers
me.
and this. Yeah, like it's not that. It's I just want to kill because I want to.
Right.
It's fun.
Hey, wait, what?
You know?
Are the A-list actors doing horror movies?
Yeah. There's some, I feel.
I feel like a lot of them get their start in horror movies.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I don't even know if I want to see an A-list actor scared though. I mean, it might be nice to see Denzel scared. That might be nice. Like, hey,
Yeah.
a couple of those.
Yeah.
Couple of those. Hey, what are you doing right
Well,
here,
maybe.
man?
But see, and that's what's crazy is like it's not a lot of A-list actors, but horror films bring in money.
Yeah.
And I think horror films have more longevity than action.
Longevity, how?
Like how often you will watch it. Like I don't really know, and maybe it's just I just don't know people, but I don't know many people who will continue to watch like certain action movies all the time. Like I feel like the Avengers is different because you got your heroes and you have whatever. But if you're thinking of like just like a movie that's just full action, like John Wick.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's. I mean, there's no
but-
plot to that.
Yeah.
But I can watch a horror movie that doesn't have a plot like over and over again. Like, you know, in my opinion.
No, I hear
Or
you.
maybe that's my bias. I
Yeah.
don't know. But like I don't know many people who's like, oh yeah, I'm just watching like John Wick, or oh I'm watching this, or whatever. Like
I can watch Mission Impossible any day of the week. Love that franchise.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Love it.
well, or
Shouts to Tom
you know what,
Cruise.
James Bond. James
Yeah,
Bond
I can-
has a lot.
And
Yeah.
that's like a
Yeah.
childhood thing for me, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like playing a lot of GoldenEye.
Yeah.
And like, but I mean, I used to watch the old ones all the time. So
Yeah.
like,
I
but you know,
guess,
like
I
they're
mean,
not all plot. You know, some of them
Yeah.
are just really funny because of like how bad the special effects are, like in the 60s and 70s. So like, it's just really funny to watch them more than it is to like, oh man, that plot was crazy.
Yeah, I feel like horror has a certain nostalgia no matter what. And maybe that's why it gives it longevity, because people often remember their first horror movie, or often remember the first time they were like ever scared, or like really scared of something. And like, even if you didn't see the movie, you know who Ghostface is.
Fear and
Or-
trauma is very powerful.
It's very powerful. And I feel like with the action movies, it's not like if I see someone wearing a fighter jacket or like or whatever, I'm like, oh, Top Gun immediately. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Or like, I was just, oh, that's a pilot. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm
It's a
saying?
pilot.
Like, or
Random pilot number
you know what I'm
two.
saying? Like, it needs a certain nostalgia for action movies to make it, to keep playing in people's minds versus horror. It doesn't take much.
I also think
You know what I'm
people
saying?
like to be scared, though.
Oh yeah.
I think people
Thrill
like,
seekers.
they like to be just like people who love to
Adrenaline
go on
junkies.
amusement parks,
Yep.
roller coasters, anything like that. People like to be scared. They want to see if they could sit through it. They want to see, especially now with TikTok and everything. You have all these influencers that go and, like I said earlier, like word of mouth is crazy because they'll get on the internet and be like, "Oh, it's the scariest thing I ever seen," and then now everyone's buying a ticket because they want to see if it's really one of the scariest things that they've
happened to
seen.
Long Legs. Everyone it went probably like
You know what?
viral.
Their marketing
mixed
on that
reviews
was
for that.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Their
amazing.
marketing.
Smile marketing is crazy.
They had me on a completely off the wall website trying to figure some stuff out for
for
Long
real.
Legs.
She was literally solving cases. She was looking at case files. I was like, "What are you looking at on your phone?" It was
Got
like
the
chopped up
registry.
body.
You got the
Yeah.
pictures up with the
One
location,
step
the
away from that,
registry.
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
one
yeah.
step
Have you
away
been
from
up
that.
all
She
night?
was like, "What is this? What is this?" She'll look, babe. Zoom, zoom, zoom. There's a toe.
Right.
It's painted red.
Right. Now, who likes red, right? Little Red Riding Hood, okay? Now, follow me.
She had toes. Like you're like, what?
But
I'm
that's
like,
what keeps me
to
going is all
sleep.
of that. And that's why I
Yeah.
said I'm
Yeah.
going to sound so biased because I am such an A24 stan.
stand, man.
Yeah.
And neon.
You cannot talk down
Yeah, Neon is good.
Midsummer or Hereditary to me at all because they are
I don't
just
think anybody will. I mean, I mean, from everybody I hear,
Such
they're
good
really
movies.
Yeah.
But then horror, you gotta think about it too. Horror films has its own season, no matter what. So it's always going to be great, just like Christmas movies always is going to be great. Christmas, okay, I don't like Christmas as much, but people
Same.
feel the people feel it. Like
sorry.
They did this yesterday. I had to
Yeah,
get
I
quiet. I was like,
sorry.
I love that.
it's not that.
She
It's
loves
nothing
Christmas so
wrong with
much.
Christmas. I feel like Christmas is just different.
Everyone
You know
has
what I'm
their
saying?
thing, friend,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
I'm just into the magic of it.
Yeah,
See, we love that.
it feels good. It has such a feel good vibe, and that's where the feel good movies come in at. Like,
really-
where's action movies time to shine, kind of thing.
What? Man.
Like,
you know what?
yeah.
Like I think it was last year. Last year or 2022 was just like a great year for action films. I mean, can you count Oppenheimer as an action? Would you say that's action?
Oppenheimer was top. I love that
Top
movie.
Gun Maverick, that was crazy. The Batman was crazy.
The Batman was amazing.
Man,
That's a good one.
I've been watching that movie. I think that I said this earlier.
Robert
I think, but that's it's my Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm thinking about that movie a lot.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it right now. Might have to watch that when I get home. What you talking about? That soundtrack was crazy, man.
I feel like, well, unfortunately, it didn't do. Joker 2 was.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It wasn't. I mean, I loved it because I just love the Joker series.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see where a lot of people were frustrated with it and like what are we watching? I feel like it wasn't marketed probably the way it needed to be because everyone coming off of the first Joker was expecting a certain type of energy and a certain type of like feel from the movie, and you get something completely different.
Yeah.
So,
I heard that they didn't do a test group for Joker 2.
they probably
wow.
didn't want to.
Interesting.
They probably
I don't think they
didn't
the
want
musical part of
They
it.
said, no, wait.
Although Lady Gaga
Don't show them that.
she was really good.
She was
in the film.
Gagaing?
Yeah,
She was.
really
As she
good.
should.
Yeah,
Mother.
I
yeah.
haven't
She
seen
wasn't the
Mother.
problem.
Yeah.
She wasn't
As
the
she
problem.
should. We
She
expected nothing else.
Okay.
Honestly, yeah,
that.
Lady Gaga wasn't the problem.
Okay.
Or
Was it
Joaquin
Joaquin?
Phoenix.
Respectfully.
No.
No, and it wasn't him either. It was
it's
just
literally the storytelling.
Wait,
of
so
it.
you didn't like it?
I liked it just for what it was.
Okay.
I liked it because I got to see like two of my favorite. I love Joaquin Phoenix. Honestly, like I'm gonna be biased to him on almost anything. So I was already hyped because I got to see him act in another movie, and it doesn't seem like he's been in too many movies lately. So it's cool to like.
What about Beau is Afraid? Have you seen that?
No.
That's supposed to be a horror A24 movie. Check it out.
I
I haven't seen it. I'm just saying, check it out. Because, I mean, you know, you like Joaquin Phoenix and stuff like that. Okay. What would you do, really quick, to fix the black horror movie landscape? Do you have an idea for a black horror movie? Let me ask you this. Because a lot of black horror movies have, like, all of these... I don't want to say black tropes, but like they're obviously targeted to black people.
Right.
How do we make? Is there a way to make a black horror movie that feels like a white horror movie? Do you have any movie like that in your head that you can think of that doesn't necessarily make mention of their blackness?
Like this is like this is black.
You know what I mean? Like, because like that's kind of what the Blackening did, which we'll get to. But like, and it was also a comedy, so I kind of get that. But is there a way to like make a slasher film, Candyman, something like that, that doesn't really rely on them being black to,
I mean,
you know, to as a essential plot point?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think that's where a lot of them lose me a lot of the times.
Really?
Yeah. It's because I don't want to see like the stereotypicalness all the time. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that. Whereas sometimes it's funny, okay, cool, but that's not really what I'm going for.
You're going to escape.
I want to see something different. And again, I think that goes back to the box. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard, not even hard. I think just a lot of people don't want to branch out just off the sole, purpose of wondering how other people are going to feel about it. But I think I do love that when someone actually does go for it, like Jordan Peele, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which encourages other people to want to go for it because they see that it can be done.
Yeah.
But it just takes someone to take that little leap of faith to actually do it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what happened with Nope. Now that I think about it, because Nope was definitely a movie that didn't rely on the fact that they were black to make it scary, or like they weren't like, oh hell no.
Yeah,
but they had like little jokes in there, and it was like,
Nope.
Yeah,
and that's what I liked about it. It doesn't have to be over.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be all
black.
that.
Over.
I think what you guys are saying is hashtag representation.
Yeah.
And there are little black boys and little black girls that are watching Jordan Peele, and they're going to grow up and make horror movies.
They're like, oh my goodness, I
Can't
feel
wait to
like
see those when I'm 50.
Love that.
we gotta go back to our stories. I feel like there's nothing wrong with like there's so much African lore out there and African mythology out there that has demons and spirits and like things we're terrified about. And it's even the same with like Native American and all that stuff. Like, I'm a very big mythology type of person, so I would read these African lores and all this stuff, and I'm like, why is this not a scary movie? Like, this is terrifying, like, and if we can even get back to that, because I feel like in order for it to be done properly, we still have to have a connection to it. Yeah. Unfortunately, we ain't worried about intruders as much as maybe middle-aged white man who lives in like, the suburbia. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like, you know what I'm saying? We're like, you come up in here if you want to. You know what I mean? But like for them, they're like,
Siri, lock the door.
Right. Like,
please lock the doors.
Yeah, like they are making like a bowl of cereal at like 3 a.m. and someone's running through their house and they're just casual about it. Like, we already know somebody's in here. Like, we turned up. Yeah.
The sense of awareness is really something
Correct. That differs. Like, we can still, I feel like we have to figure out a way of like highlighting our differences of horror. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the movies aren't as successful or the parts aren't as believable because we're not coming from a point of relativity. Like, I can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Even in the one we were just in Us, remember the white family was in this huge like lake house cabin thing with all these windows, and they're like, lights on, lights off, lights on. Like we not even worried about that. You know what I'm saying? We trying to take this man out. Yeah. So I think maybe coming from a more relatable approach on our side, but not making it too highlighty. Yeah. And
but still making it scary.
But making it scary.
What about? I just thought about this. What about a horror movie where it's like a grandma, right?
Starting off strong.
So she's like a possessed grandma. Maybe she's dead and she comes back to life, right? Okay. She comes back to life, and she whoops you to death. Go give me that switch.
That might be iconic, because you know what?
It might be too funny, but like
it might be too funny. It might be a Medea movie. You know what I'm saying?
No, I haven't, but Jackie has.
The Visit.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was telling him about that.
Old people. Scary.
We
Grandma
gotta
houses?
We got to figure out what scares black people.
What's our all relatable experience that would terrify us? Grandma houses. The old creepy uncle that you really don't know nothing about, but why is he always here? And why is he always creepy? Like, you don't even know whose son he is. You're just like, they're like, oh, that's Uncle
he
Ray
not
Ray.
really
And
our
you're
uncle.
like,
Yeah, I didn't have one of those, but
it's terrifying. You know what I'm saying? We always
She
got
says,
like,
can't relate.
you know, or we could do like one on like, or like how
It's not creepy.
we're so welcoming of a people. Like, what if we welcomed the wrong thing? You know what I'm saying? In a sense, like, what if you know, like a family friend kind of vibe?
I got it, right? So we welcome in a white person, right?
Right.
We welcome to we call it the cookout.
The cookout. Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
welcome them to the cookout, and they start appropriating blackness, right? And then they slowly start morphing into this black person and maybe steal somebody's identity, and then they kill them or something. I don't know. Think about it. Could be tight.
I'm
be
kind of
tight.
about that because that's one thing I do.
get Jordan
I
Peele
am
on the phone.
Call it the cookout.
afraid of. I don't want.
Hey, don't steal
someone,
that. To
you
my
know
6
what I'm
listeners, don't be stealing that.
You know what I
That's a
mean?
Jailon Williams original. I have it copyrighted. Get back. All right. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed that conversation a lot, to be honest, because a lot of I don't think black horror gets discussed enough. And I don't think that a lot of us really we don't think about it in that everyday sort of aspect. You know, it's just like horror movies are horror movies, and we kind of get used to the same old things and stuff like that. But black people can be scared too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Just
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
True.
All right. Let's get to the blackening. Hey. What's up?
There's a womp womp around here somewhere. I
Yeah,
just don't know
it's
which
one
button it
of
is.
one of the
I think
buttons.
it's
You want to
this
give it
one.
that
Yeah,
one?
Okay.
Was it
Maybe
not that one? Yeah.
you forgot to turn up the.
There you go.
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
2023's The Blackening, directed by Tim Story, who directed Ride Along 2, Fantastic Four 1 and 2. Actually wrote it down somewhere. Think Like a Man 1 and 2, Shaft, Barbershop, and Jackie's favorite, Taxi.
I love Queen Latifah. Okay, that's my girl.
Who doesn't?
That's my girl. U-N-I-T-Y. Okay, I'm back.
Who
Sorry.
doesn't?
Who you calling
Shout
a
out to her.
bitch?
Yeah.
The queen.
All right. So regretfully, because of your size of
Yeah.
disapproval, I don't even want to ask you what you thought about it, but
No, all right.
let's go with it. Let's.
Just gonna skip
Do you
over that.
want? Do you want me to? Do you?
I want
do
to.
you want to go first?
I want to hear your honest thoughts.
I'll go.
I didn't make the movie. So.
Yeah.
I say this respectfully. I thought it was
Fuck
very
this movie.
just right. Who the fuck? I thought it had its moments where I was like, oh, okay, I get it, where it's trying to be like, you know, the comedy
Spoofy.
side of it. I thought it was really stereotypical. I was not a fan of the N-word being popped off every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds.
To me, it was just like, all right, we don't. I don't need to hear that at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. You know, it's not doing nothing for me. You know
I don't
what
really
mean?
say
Like,
it that much, to be honest.
and I don't either. And
yeah.
that's why I'm just like, I don't need to hear this every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Every time someone says something. But I thought that it was also like a fun take on like what would happen. You know what I mean?
In a cabin in the woods sort of situation.
Yeah. I also thought that they had really like stereotypical characters as well. Like,
Got to get all the
like
different
the
types of blacks
light
involved.
skinned girl had like, you know, curly hair and I'm just like, okay, you know, we get it.
Yeah.
We've seen this.
It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like the best representation.
And I
feel.
was not expecting it to be the best.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think when I saw the movie in theaters, I thought it was funny. It was pretty funny. And even now, like going back through it, I noticed a few things that I thought were really funny. And but I agree. They do say the N-word a ton.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I guess that was a part of the whole thing, but like, Yeah, it's kind of spoofy. It's not exactly scary movie, but it is scary,
scary movie.
People
Yeah.
were sucking their teeth of the theater. We saw it in theaters premiere weekend
Oh.
in a room full of black people, and everybody was sucking their teeth. It was
Yeah, it
laughing
was.
the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
boy, it's like that type of movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it goes back. Like I think maybe why. God. I feel like maybe why I don't like it. I mean, even though it still fits a meaning and serves a purpose, is because it's keeping us in that box. You know what I'm saying? Like we naming it the Blackening was already a thing. You know what I'm saying? And then now you have like the killer who's like a blackface mask and things like that. And it was funny because he even asked about the national anthem, like the Black national anthem, and I knew it.
You know the second verse of the Black National Anthem?
man.
I literally
I
wrote
knew
that down.
it. Yeah.
I said, they got a second verse of that?
Yeah, I like went to, when I was younger, I went to an African school. Like the school
Wow,
was
Kiwi.
African. Yeah, we had to wear
So interesting.
dashikis and all that
What?
stuff. Yeah.
This was woman.
She hotep. I love
You know what I'm
it.
saying? Like, and so I feel like it's definitely keeping us in that box of feeling like in order for us to have something, we have to be funny or we have to present a certain way. And like, I really hate, I mean, I understand it's there to serve a purpose and we deserve comedic relief too. But for us to try to make waves in certain areas, I would love for us to really take those opportunities and take them like seriously. You know what I'm saying?
And that's a part of what I was kind of saying is that I think that in the Black community, you kind of have to make it funny for people to see a horror movie. You know, because I don't know, because if we had a all Black horror movie cast, how many Black people are expected to watch that? 'Cause, I mean, let's just talk about it from like a movie investment standpoint.
Yeah.
You try to pitch this Black movie to Warner Brother, or, just somebody with a whole bunch of white executives. They're like, "Who's the audience?" And they're like,
right.
"Black people." And they go, "Aren't Black people? Don't they?
Yeah.
Do they even like horror movies?" And they're like, "Well, no." And they're like, "Cancel." You know,
Yeah.
so-
Right.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I get what you're
But
saying.
I mean, and even still, like even the things that were in the movie, I felt like a lot of even African Americans didn't know about or wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? Unless you grew up a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
And we have to come to a realization that we do have more like of us not in those areas. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
And I
saying?
think that was the one thing that I didn't like, how they really picked on like the weird Black kid.
yeah.
And I was just like, I am and was that weird
Weird
Black
Black
kid.
kid,
So it's like,
yeah.
I didn't really,
Yeah.
of course it would be him. Like, you know what I mean? Because he didn't fit in. And that's why I was like,
Like I don't
kinda
also
like
want
that.
to like cater to just a certain demographic of Black because that keeps us in that demographic. You know, there's more African Americans who are making over a certain bracket of money nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So they live a different lifestyle. They have different experiences. So we also have to give them a chance because it's not like there's not any Black people in horror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like or that Black people that don't like it. You know, like people dressing up in Ghostface. They ain't worried about the color of his skin or people who
They should
do.
make Ghostface black. Just
You
once.
see what I'm saying? Like,
That would be so fun.
For the
you know
plot.
what I mean? And that's even saying like, oh, who's gonna go watch Little Mermaid if Chloe Bailey is playing it and end up being one of their top films? You know, the little kids don't care about that.
Yeah.
So when we go in thinking that, oh, I have to make this pretty much like a Medea film. In order for someone to watch it, then we're putting that energy out there. Like we need to burst our own walls. We have to give our people an opportunity to be into something that is like that.
Yeah.
You know,
We
what I'm
need
saying?
new investors, new producers.
New producers, I mean, maybe they want something fresh. You know what I'm saying? Like it would be something on Netflix and it gets all this attention because they're willing to give other people a chance.
That
Yeah.
platform.
You know what I'm saying? That platform. And even down to like non-horror, Insecure still was like a serious and like comedic or whatever, but it really showed a different perspective. You know, not just someone growing up in the hood, you know, and having all these
Black
like,
girls can be lawyers.
you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
look.
Like,
You know,
what?
and I think for the most part, the Blackening did try to show that. I mean, they showed one person who was like a former thug turned hotep kind of guy, but like the main girl, the I think her name was Lisa, the one with the yellow shirt. She was an attorney, so you know it's like even though you don't really get to talk about that, you know, as much within a horror movie, like
Right.
I think that they tried to give them some type of like you know just. We're just normal people. We do drugs, you know. We do this and do that, and it's not like we're all just like you know eating chicken and you know what I mean. Like it's not. It wasn't stereotypical for me at least at some points, but I do agree with what you're saying. So I had some funny parts that I want to bring up in the movie. Maybe you all have some as well, but I loved in the beginning with Yvonne from Insecure and Jay Farrow. They find the game room and they ask a question named like black people who haven't died in a horror movie. And he names Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps in Scream 2, who famously died in the beginning of the movie. And she goes, oh, they didn't survive because they didn't have the budget for it. And then they paused.
And they sat there. Yeah.
And it didn't hit me at first. I was like, oh, you're going to die because they don't have the budget to keep you on.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's clever. That was really fun.
That was really clever. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
And then they kind of move on and then they start playing spades or anything like that. I want to ask, do any of you know how to play spades?
No, I do
Dang.
not. I am a Monopoly-based family.
Monopoly-based. That's our game. No, I agree, though, because, I mean, we didn't play a ton of spades. We were playing, like, Speed.
Yeah.
I Declare War, Monopoly,
Love that.
Uno.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Golden
Yeah, we was going hard.
Not a lot of spades.
No.
Not a lot of spades. How about you, Babe? You know how to play spades?
I can kind of play, but when I say that, people go, "Oh no, you're not playing." So I just say no.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my white mama can play spades.
See, look.
She's like, domino. Shout out to dog. Would you, okay, now when they get to this house in the woods or whatever, we're going to skip over all the introduction or whatever, but when they get to the house, they see the game, The Blackening, which is, I think, what the movie is named after. So one quick question about that.
Yeah.
Did they create this board game specifically to kill black people?
That's what it was
it,
given.
but-
That's what it was given.
And did Clifton make the game? Or did the two white
I don't
paid for hires?
Yeah. Paid for hires.
Is it a real, like, it's such a,
It's
'cause it
not a
looked
real
old.
game.
It looked old,
Yeah.
but
It's
not
a
like
real
20
game.
years ago old, because they were talking about Friends and the Fresh Prince. So
Didn't like it either
very
way.
interesting.
Game-wise.
No,
I think Clifton made it to, but I mean, how long was
Dedication.
he throwing this game out here? Like, was he
Pure dedication.
just
I mean, he was in
going
prison
out?
for like 4 years, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know
I mean,
if they give you crafts in prison, but
They
mention
do.
that?
I used to be a CO. Yeah.
you see anybody trying to make a
they
new
do.
board game or anything?
No, not that. But they do
They
get
get crafts.
crafting materials. Yeah.
Crafty, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe
To an
you-
That's good to
extent.
hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keeping the creative spirits alive.
Yeah.
It's
Until
good
it
to
gets
think I might
dangerous.
survive. Oh,
Yeah.
Once craft night's over,
Yeah. Right.
Is it a once a week thing or
They can
it varies?
they can buy things. and
Okay.
Stuff like
glue
that.
sticks, a few some children's scissors,
yeah.
construction paper.
Just
Glitter.
make a nice card for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should start making cards honestly, like a sick card, like in a holiday thing. That'd be sick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But back to the original question.
Yeah.
You're in this cabin in the woods.
Right.
Would you start playing this game?
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't touch it.
First
If-
of all,
if
I wouldn't
I'm,
even
like,
go behind that
yeah.
door if it was originally
Let's
locked. That's
just
not my business.
Really be real about our
So-
experience. We Airbnb in this. I'm pretty sure there's
no.
parts of the house I ain't supposed to be in.
yep.
So
And if
I'm
it's
not about
locked,
to.
Yeah.
I don't even like Airbnb to be honest.
I don't even
want to
be in
now.
Me
the
too.
woods.
I'm a
Yeah.
hotel person. for
Honestly,
sure.
because
Yeah,
I
the
watch
woods.
too many horror movies.
Yeah, I don't. really
I don't
like
mind
that.
the woods.
No, I do.
I don't.
Yeah,
You know how to
right.
use a compass?
They taught me in school, but
But
I
what?
don't. I
What
don't
you
say.
mean?
If you were
School.
given a
Sorry.
compass right now,
At the
could you
African
use it?
school?
At my African school.
What is this? They're teaching you all sorts
They
of
also taught us Japanese.
what?
the Dr. Umar School.
Wow, the Frederick Douglass Academy.
Yeah, I like it.
This is wild,
It was
man.
actually called Sankofa.
Do you know how to? Can you speak Japanese right now? Do you?
I didn't keep much of it. No, me and my brother were the only ones in the house that could speak it because we went to school. And my mom was like, "Y'all need to cut that out." She didn't know what we were saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what?
She was like, "What?"
I just asked him to pass.
Konnichiwa. She's like, "Don't you be cussing at me!" Like, she be turned up. I'm like, "Dang, mom, you sent us to school. I'm supposed to learn." You know, like. But no, they teach you a lot of like compass work and like wilderness living because it's a lot of trees and a lot of like, forests in Michigan, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So if you get lost at a lake, you don't have to figure out how to get back.
Exactly.
Ooh, do they teach you guys how to swim?
I would just be following the North Star. That was actually one of my questions because they brought that up in a movie.
Did they? I could swim, yeah.
Can you swim?
Yes.
She was a lifeguard.
Wow. Look at her. Baywatch.
Yeah.
I was a lifeguard.
Breaking stereotypes, man.
Man, that's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Somebody can say this. I was saved by a black woman. Okay.
You wouldn't believe it.
It's 2024. Okay. Things have changed. Things
She got in the water, hair and all.
Yeah. That's wild. Hair and all. She had a bonnet on. That was crazy. I was like, that don't hate
The emergency bonnet.
She's literally on the beach. Break glass in case of emergency. Like a waterproof bonnet.
Just purple.
Lock it on.
Yeah, just like.
Hey, we might need
That's not a bad idea.
I know. That's not.
I was just thinking about
Write that down. Write that down.
Don't steal it.
Trademark,
All of these are trademarks protected. Why would you want to wear a waterproof bonnet, though? Isn't it like an in-house thing? Do you wear it out? Do you wear it out?
You can.
Huh?
Swimmers? Like people who swim professionally?
Like the swim
What about a
caps.
swim cap?
Yeah, those are really tight though.
Oh,
And I
don't-
guess that's the purpose, obviously. But yeah,
You can't put all your dreads in there. So there's that. You know.
You know what?
Why do I gotta have certain hair to swim?
That's a $1 billion idea. Just saying. We might have to cut the episode here.
Yeah.
But episode 7 is canceled. We're gonna go make $1 billion real quick.
Yeah, just real quick.
So they all go into the game room because they're doing whatever. I guess trying to find the power outlet. What do they call it? The power. Well, you know what a power box.
Breaker.
Breaker. Thank you. Jesus. Sorry. And they all have their own little pieces. What would be your piece if you were on that game? What would you immediately identify on that board? You say, "Oh, that's my piece." Would it be a kiwi, perhaps?
I feel like mine would be a kiwi. Everyone just
Cut in half.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a little kiwi. Like, I feel like it's just, I have too many identifiable things, so it would just be a kiwi. It would either be that, it could be a backwards hat or a hat.
Oh,
You love a hat.
I love a hat.
You love a hat.
Love
Mine would
a
probably be a
hat.
croc. love some Crocs.
Yeah,
Got them on right now.
that.
Shout out to Crocs.
Little golden
Not a
Croc.
sponsor. What about you? What about you, B? What
Mine would be a book, maybe.
I was
I'm a
gonna
big
say
reader.
like a guitar. You're so into bands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a big
you're wearing a
musical
Metallica
person.
shirt right now.
Nice. What about yours, Jackie?
Probably a plant.
Yeah,
And I knew
Oh,
that,
yeah.
by the way. But
So
Probably a
cute.
plant. I'd be so upset to see it.
Oh, God damn,
I've seen
some
Jumanji. I know
monstera.
how this is.
yeah.
It's a rubber tree.
yeah.
That's mine. I did write that there's a second verse to the national anthem. Another thing I thought that was really funny was their answer to the Friends question about like name five.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She said no. Now, that was
Yeah, that one was
Incorrect.
a good one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The answer is I don't know.
Because I
don't watch
have
the
never
show.
seen Friends.
I've only
Me
watched Living
neither.
Single.
Yeah.
I've never seen
And
it.
I love Living Single. I'm rewatching
good.
Living.
Yeah, I'm
It's
gonna
so
rewatch.
good.
Jackie loves Friends.
I do.
Really?
She's been on Friends. I'm like, this isn't
Mine's
funny.
is Office.
This
I
is
feel like it's like Friends, Office.
I'm
yeah.
a Frasier man. That's what I
Frasier.
do.
Wow.
Frasier's really
I've
good.
never watched Frasier either.
You'll like it. It's a funny show. Very clever, unique situations. And it's a funny show. I like it. I love it. I love it. Who did you maybe think was? Who did you like the most? Perhaps did you have anybody not gravitated to necessarily, but just like somebody you were like, okay, like was there anybody that maybe just
In that
stood out for
movie,
you? As funny wise, acting wise?
I thought. I mean, I like Yvonne or whatever, like from Insecure. I really like her acting style, And so immediately she stood out because I was like, oh, this is cool to see her in a different kind of like light. But then it wasn't really different, to be quite honest, at the same time. And then I don't know. I feel like I've very much seen these characters before.
Yeah.
So like none of them really like stood out or had anything like too unique about them for them to like stick in my head.
Okay. I thought, or what about you, B? Did you have anybody?
I don't know what his name was, but the guy that came in with the attorney.
Oh, Namdi?
Was that his name?
Oh, no. I want to say
the one that was best friends with the attorney.
Yeah.
I want to say, I don't know why I want to say Clarence, but I know that's wrong.
Yeah. Was it the gay? It was the gay guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I identified with that was because of that whole little kind of argument they got into. And he's like, oh, I'll do the toast. And by the way. And just started completely reading her. And I was like, oh, look, it's me on TV.
I thought he was pretty funny as well. Yeah. He had a lot of good moments, like where the door in the laundry room kind of open, and it's just like, I'm like, reasonable response, no investigation for him.
Yeah.
I thought that Clifton actually stole the show a lot, at least for when he was not being the villain, I guess, because like he he goes when they're watching Friends, he goes, I'm more of a Becker kind of guy. And I've seen Becker, which is funny because it's a funny show. It's like about this. He's like it's a comedy, and he's a doctor who's like really grumpy in a way, and he's just a grumpy guy. So that's pretty much the whole plot. And then he goes, they're going to the basement, and King can't see, and he goes, you can borrow my glasses.
Yeah.
And he wipes them off.
Yeah, he's still not gonna be able to see.
It was so funny. And then they're going, Morgan. He goes, try saying her last name.
Yeah. I was like, what is this man? This man is pulling anything out the bag.
Oh,
like anything. Goodness. Like, why would her last name?
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Man.
No, he has some good moments.
And then he goes, another way, King gets shot with the arrow, and he goes, "You're like King Arthur."
Yeah.
Like, what? What? I was like, why is he saying all this? And my last one was Namdi had the gun. And he was shooting it sideways. And Clifton goes to turn it right side up for him. Clifton stole the show for me only because I think that and I think this may be the biggest moral of the story, is that we shouldn't just treat Black people a certain way just because they're a little different. Don't know how to play spades for one thing, or because they have an android, which is so wild to me. I can't believe we're still doing that. Like, do you realize you're a puppet to the man?
Yeah. That's another conversation.
Like, you know.
I thought that was funny in the movie too. She's like, I told you we don't support this.
We don't support it. Like, are you serious? Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. We're
Release
better
us
than this.
from this.
We're better
honestly.
than this.
We're
Yeah.
not.
I don't even pay my phone bill.
Yeah. It's like, come on, y'all. Like we get disgusted by green bubbles.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You gotta move past it.
Yeah,
we're better than this.
we are better, and we'll show the world.
Yeah.
We will.
But yeah, I think that was the biggest plot point for this movie, is that, you know, regardless, I mean, and it was still his fault for driving drunk, obviously. So I mean, because I'm already spoiling the movie, obviously, but he initially did all of this because he was trying to learn how to play spades at the first Juneteenth party. They didn't want to teach him how to play spades. They revoked his black card, which made him feel bad about himself. And then he started drinking, and then he killed some lady and was convicted for 4 years for manslaughter. So I get it. I mean, I get why he would go about this, but I mean, I don't agree with killing people, obviously,
But I think that's a big highlight of the plot point too, not just the like, we shouldn't ostracize someone who's different, but I feel like I feel like in the Black community, we don't always think about how our words affect people mentally. Like mental, like they even said in the movie, like, oh, I go to a therapist, like we're progressing. You know, like mental health is still like taboo in the Black community.
I mean, going to the doctor might still be taboo
because then even after that, someone was like, oh, Black people don't go to therapy. And I was like,
what? But I do feel like that was probably another good point of like seeing like how just telling someone I'm taking your Black card, like that's someone's identity almost in a sense, or saying that you can't be in this space anymore. And it's like, we don't already have a lot of spaces. Why are you taking the one thing that I should be able to be in no matter what? You know, like that really affects a lot of people, like even of all skin colors, you know, like for me not to know how to play a game. Now I can't be in a space that I was legitimately born into. Like it's not like I can go get a white card or a Mexican card or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And no other like community really does that like Black people. Like we've really forced our own kind into a certain area in a certain way. Like this dude didn't feel like he was cool enough, maybe because he didn't dress a certain way, or he talked a certain way, or he voted for Trump twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of a sudden you're a villain. They didn't even ask him why or what. Like, what was the reasoning for it? Like, it led him. I mean, you shouldn't be drunk driving, but it led him to a point where he did something extremely destructive. And a lot of times we don't think about that in our community. Like, we grow up tough, you know? Your mom's like, oh, you better wash the dishes or I'm gonna beat your ass. Or you better take the chicken out before I go home, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like, we're always, like, haunted. Like, and that's what, I mean, granted.
I'll just flash it back.
Forgets to take it out of the freezer.
Sorry, Mom.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry to all mamas out there when chicken should have been thawed and it wasn't. You know, now we eat hamburger helper.
We realize how important that is now as adults, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
because if I don't take it out and then I go to work and I come home, I'm just
no, it's just. I mean, it was valuable. Obviously. I'm not saying that it wasn't important.
The delivery,
but it didn't have to be all that.
The delivery was wrong. Like, I don't think we are always so mindful about how we speak and how we approach things and how we approach people, because we have always been the tougher community. We always been in a community with a chip on our shoulders and we need all the sensitivity around us in certain ways and certain moves. And that was something that I didn't really like too much about the film either. Like when they got there and they had the white cop, like, and he was just trying to verify. Like, honestly, what if he was genuinely trying to verify? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you got to be suspicious on
both
fronts.
On both fronts. I mean, honestly, on both fronts. But it's something that almost in every film we get it, and almost in every like way we're constantly like bringing it up, where there could be people genuinely out there just trying to do their job. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't excuse someone from being suspicious, because at the end of the day, a person is still a person. You don't know what they got going on. Like, he could have, I mean, he has his right to be suspicious. We have our right to be suspicious too, you know?
Absolutely.
And instead of us being suspicious, we are always offended immediately. You know, she's like, oh, you saying this because I'm a Black person or whatever. Instead of being like, hey, why are you so suspicious that we're here? You know, like we don't question first. We get defensive first.
And he turned out to be a good guy in the movie too. So, which was, I mean,
that's cool that they did that for him.
Which is good, because I think that, like, I mean, and some of it all just kind of fights against one, horror stereotypes, and then also just like Black people stereotypes as well. Like, I didn't really like the Kool-Aid thing where he was like, I don't think. I mean,
we don't even drink Kool-Aid. When the last time?
Can't even remember.
Seriously. Yeah,
honestly.
For real.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but some stuff in there was definitely weird. But I think the biggest thing is just to be nice to all Black people. You know.
Definitely.
And
real.
Also, and I'm even guilty of doing this sometimes. It's just trying to, I mean, maybe just out of I don't want to say instinct, but I guess it's not instinct, but what's the word? Habit? Like habit. There you go. Out of habit, where you try to identify the Blackness or whatever that a person has, and if they say that they're Black, they have to prove it and stuff like that. But hey, if you Black, you Black.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with going forward. It's just like you say it, sure.
Yeah.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Any other notes on. Real quick. One note about Clifton I also had is that when they kicked him out for not
for being
too black technically.
Yeah.
He slapped King in the face.
Yeah, when he was running. That was
so
good.
Funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the other notes were just valuable lessons about making sure that we as a culture should treat all black people the same. Or not the same, but just be more inclusive. Because like being a part of your own community matters to people in your community, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, so yeah.
Weird
really,
how that works.
right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Who would have thought? Crazy, right?
Crazy.
Any final thoughts on this movie before we get going to our next movie? You got any 2 thumbs up you want to give it, or fuck Tim's story, perhaps?
Please.
Nah, I'm just ready to see a change. That's it.
Waiting on the world to change. All right. Let's get into our second movie, which is Mr. Crocket.
Yep.
Released in 2024, directed by Brandon Espy. It looks like this might be his first movie within a streaming, or his first major movie. But yeah, let's kind of explain the plot here. So basically, Mr. Crocket is like a Mr. Rogers type of TV show. He's black, and his goal is to protect children from parents who are being bad. And he does this through a VHS tape that the children watch, and he protects children from bad parents, I guess. So let's hear it. What did you think?
It was iffy for me.
Iffy.
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't enjoy it. I told B when we got done watching it, like, my biggest thing is I'm tired of these like villains dying in the most subpar way. Like, all we had to do was slice him with a crayon. Like, and I was
It's
like,
a magical crayon.
I mean,
that's important.
It's like Chalk Zone.
It was.
Love that show.
Chalk Zone is
Love
Dude, it's
top.
got the chalk.
Man,
Top.
love that show.
Yeah, top 2.
Chalk Zone was sick.
Yeah.
Bring that back.
Yeah, bring that.
run
Give me
Chalk Zone
give me a
back.
live action Chalk Zone.
Back to Chalk Zone.
Where Ricky at now?
Yeah.
He still got the chalk.
Yeah.
He drawn
But
up
I
$1
mean,
million.
like, I don't even feel like I felt like he could have I felt like the death could have been like even
Spoiler alerts, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know, better or more creative, I guess.
Well, I think that it was subpar because it feels like there might be a sequel to this.
You think so?
I think so. Just based on how the
How he was still like alive.
Well, I think mostly because of how Major was drawing him with him and his mom and like that little crayon thing. So I think that there might be a different way to bring him back. And then he also had that magic marker, I think,
Yeah.
still in his marker box. So he
He might come back.
He might come back, and I think that I would welcome it because it's almost like, because this is the type of plot that you would get from like a Jason or a Chucky or like any of those like classic slasher movies where it's just like a crazy backstory, and then now you got like Mr. Crocket 6, the Blu-ray. It's like move to Blu-ray now.
I mean, I guess
the streaming service.
I would want to know what he was doing, kind of like after so long. I mean, they explain, like, of course, like he was just taking the kids so he can provide them like this better life and keeping them in this trance. But like, what's gonna happen when they grow up? Like
they don't grow up, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe it's like a Peter Pan
that's
thing.
Because the only time, I mean, and I don't know what, like, really, maybe there was like a huge gap between when he did his first kid and then now, because maybe this town just had great parents. Shout outs to that town in Pennsylvania. But anywho, maybe now he's just like, okay, you guys are tweaking out. Now I got to step in or something like that. I don't know, man. It's a scary movie. It's a scary movie. The plot just happens,
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't even that long ago that it happened, because that took place in the 90s. Maybe that was that guy was pretty old, so maybe it had to be a little. Anywho, not the point. B, what did you think?
I didn't think it was bad. I think I did, like I was telling Kiwi, I like the gore of it.
Yes.
I was
Gore was
surprised
good.
at that. I
Yeah,
was
me
like,
too.
oh, okay.
I was surprised as
so
well.
it got some points for me for that. I think
Which
the
is hard.
story, yeah, it
That's
is.
hard.
I
She's
think
a
the
tough grader.
story is it's different, but I feel like we've seen it before in other things. So again, it's I get the concept of it, but I feel like I've seen this in so many ways. And what did I say? I was like, kind of like the
this
Ring
movie,
in a way, or kind of like this in a way, and kind of like all these things mixed into one. But I will say I really did like the mom, the main actress. She did really well.
I thought it was good acting, like all the way around. I liked him as a villain.
Yeah, Mr. Crocket was funny.
Mr. Crocket, I really did like
cool.
that, and I liked the imagination, like his friends coming out and all that stuff.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
That's what it was.
I think that the movie just played really well on those older sort of like. I don't want to say stereotypes, but just like those tropes of like those types of horror movies.
Yeah.
And they said, but it wasn't like, but make it black, because it wasn't really a black horror movie. Because like they were snatching up kids of all kinds.
Right.
But I thought that it had potential for like because we don't see a lot of black horror movie villains. I mean, besides Candyman, really, but like we don't really have a ton of those. So I would love to see more of this Mr. Crocket thing go down. Because like he was interested. Maybe he could do a little more, like, because you can go off of so many children's shows, like the Wiggles. You can do Blue's Clues. You can. I mean, there's so many other things they could throw in there that would make it a little more creative. But I didn't mind it at all. I think it was slow at some parts.
Yeah.
Some of the mother's acting I didn't really care for. In some parts, like with I don't know. It was just like, okay, can we get back to Mr. Crocket? I was waiting to see that, you know? But yeah, I had some questions. So they open the scene. The opening scene was immediately triggering for me, only because like I think, and maybe because I thought it was going to be a black movie, that they would have more like black tropes in it.
Yeah.
But this was immediately not triggering in like a traumatic way, but just in like a bringing up a memory of like having to eat all your food at a table.
I felt the same way.
God. Oh my God.
I felt the same way watching it.
Who hasn't been there like been force feed to eat whatever's on the plate just because you know it's it's a lot of money. So the kid is watching Mr. Crocket. They call him to the table. The stepdad is like, "Boy, don't make me get up." I mean, that's another thing. You know, he's eating his food, I guess. He's saying that he's full. And then you start seeing that the Mr. Crocket VHS, I love how they all like look to the left.
Yeah, on the VHS. I was like, oh, that's a good shot. I loved it,
So he pops out of the TV, and because the boy is being forced to eat food that he doesn't want to eat because he's full, and so he starts he feeds the guy like a plate of worms and dirt. Very unique. That's pretty sick. Hey,
I thought that was good.
Gore was like, I was not expecting that.
Wow, this is good. Yeah.
And he's like, you got to get your iron. And he puts a whole iron in him.
I was like, oh, this is crazy work. This is good. This is the stuff I like.
He's kind of like,
that's the stuff I like.
He's kind of like Freddy in a way.
Yeah.
Like, like being clever.
And like Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Very like clever and homemaking kind of killing in a sense.
What do you, and I guess they kind of explained this when they got into Mr. Crockett's sort of dimension in a way, but like the kid's being fed like cotton candy or whatever, and he's talking to them about like, gotta eat your vegetables or whatever. And I guess he wasn't really full because he was eating cotton candy.
He was eating cotton candy.
So,
well, when are kids ever full when there's candy around and stuff like that? That's coming from my mom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right.
So who was really in the wrong?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. I really thought, like, especially with the main parent and child dynamic, that little dude was annoying AF. Like, I understand he was grieving, but come on, man. Like, give us some reprieve in this to make us feel for this little boy. Because it pretty much gave you the standpoint of like the mom is going through it and this kid is just not giving her
How old do you think he was?
I don't know. I asked. I was like, how old are you? And if he's 8, that's way.
Is that old enough to say
me, I feel like that's old enough to be like, yeah. Well, I mean, like I'll give him like the way he was acting was more like 6 and 5. You know, to me, in my opinion.
Maybe he's been held back.
He could have been. Or he could have had some.
He obviously didn't have a lot of emotional depth, but I mean, like as a 5-year-old,
yeah.
Or he was tall too.
He was tall, yeah.
At least 8, right?
Yeah.
7?
Yeah, something along those lines. But he was acting very like just unruly. So I didn't think Mr. Crocket was gonna come because I was thinking like, oh, Mr. Crocket see this kid wilding out. Like, why are you gonna come at the mom? Like, she over here like, let's blow a whistle when we need each other. Mm-hmm. She over here reading tapes and books and stuff. Like, she was actually trying to figure out what to do to help her child. And just kind of like
that tape also said, "Let him whoop you."
Yeah, yeah. I was like,
yeah,
yeah. It definitely said that.
Yeah.
Do the record scratch, baby. Do the. No,
I don't even know what you're
Yeah, I had that same reaction. I looked at her and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'll tell you what won't be happening.
I really thought
what you want,
what you're not gonna do is.
Right.
But I thought that Mr. Crocket wasn't gonna come because this mom was trying the entire time, and maybe that's why he gave her more of a break. Like he didn't kill her. Because she was trying.
That's what I was going to ask. Because it's like, why take the child if you're not going to kill the parent?
Right.
Because like he's killing everybody else pretty much. So
well, didn't he want the little boy to kill the mom at the end because that's what he did?
Mm-hmm. So maybe he was trying to make the little boy the next Mr. Crocket.
He tried to get a
and he has the marker.
He ain't even been out that long.
He was able to use the marker, but also the little boy lost his dad like Mr. Crocket lost his dad. Technically.
How did Mr. Crocket lose his dad?
He killed his dad. Yeah, he killed his dad.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, because he was abusive. Mm-hmm. But he didn't lose. But his.
In the killer's mind, that's probably as much of a connection you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, look, you're like me. We both don't have dads.
Yeah.
You know, because we didn't know if any of the other kids had dads. Well, every other kid had an abusive dad. Except for him. He only had a supposedly abusive mom or like a frustrated mom.
Yeah.
Remember the little girl dad was doing drugs. And then the other dad or stepdad was whatever. So when we seen those kids taken, they had abusive fathers.
So maybe he just goes after the father's thing. Because he says parents. So I'm always assuming that he's going to kill both if they're bad. I mean, but he didn't kill the homeless lady.
He didn't kill the homeless lady. He didn't. So he probably doesn't kill moms. He only kills men. Maybe that's it.
But that's also silly because it's like, wouldn't the child be safer now with the
mom?
Mother?
Mm-hmm. But he was forced to live without a mom.
Maybe he just wants to take care of kids. He just wants to be a child care.
He wants to be the nurturer. He wants
didn't
to
really
be the
give
mom.
that for me.
Yeah,
but
like I mean that set was creepy for sure.
Yeah.
I don't. Plot point aside, plot hole aside. I thought the deaths were pretty inventive. I thought the way that he killed the drug addicted dad was pretty funny because or not funny, but I thought it was interesting because I'm like he's just gonna have him shoot himself.
Yeah.
And then he shoots his like bubbles, and then he shoots a bubble into his mouth somehow, and it becomes like a marble. Is the bubble powerful enough?
I'm like that bubble ain't gonna do nothing.
I'm like, it gets bigger and it splits his whole top off.
Top gone.
Wow.
I'm like, jeez.
Wow.
Like, full back.
Wow. And of course, like the neighbor lady is just so. I walked by and I saw the whole thing. It's just like acting like the hide your kids, hide your wife, sort of lady.
Ain't seen nothing. I see him shoot himself. Like, no, ain't gonna happen, lady. Chill out.
I was just. What was the? I had a question, but I forget what I was asking. Oh yeah. So each of these kids are basically obsessed with this VHS, right?
Yeah.
What VHS or like childhood show were you obsessed with?
Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues was my show. Lion King was my movie. Yeah. And then Lion King 2 came out, and the daughter name was Kiara. Had me hyped. That's my name. I'm like, what? Not me being in Lion King.
You're like,
I'm the flyest little cub around.
Flyest little cub.
Flyest little cub, man. I even got a Lion King tattoo.
Wow.
Yeah. Lion King was my movie.
It all comes back around. You got any Blue's Clues
Remember
tattoos?
who you are, Simba. I need one. I remember
Would you get
thinking
the
I was,
notebook?
oh my God, I was gay all my life. I remember thinking that, no, I'll get the paw print.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But I remember thinking that the reason why I say I was gay all my life is because I wanted to marry Blue. And I remember my mom telling me, first
You
off,
can't
that's
do
a
that.
dog.
Was that your gay
that's
awakening?
that's
I
point
feel like
one.
that's another.
Is that your hero?
And then
Talk
she
about
was
that
like, number 2, that's a girl. And I was like, what? So what you
I
saying?
mean, didn't
You know
nobody
what
know
I'm saying?
Tweety was a boy?
True.
Think about it. Exactly.
Did you not know that?
I didn't know that. No.
I could tell by your face. That you didn't
said,
know that.
wait,
Yeah, no,
what?
that shook me a little bit.
Tweety
That-
is a boy.
that- Did not know that.
I didn't know Blue was a girl to a long time, but I mean, they wasn't saying she. He just always like
No,
Blue this, Blue that.
Yeah.
You know?
Bluey, even Bluey now.
Oh,
Bluey's-
Bluey's sick. Blue's a sick show.
Yeah,
And it's a girl.
Very cute.
2 little girls.
What about you, B? What show were you obsessed with as a child? Oh, she's like
Exorcist,
Animorphs.
yeah.
No. She's like 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes, Dateline.
The first 48.
America's Most Wanted, whatever.
How to Catch a Predator.
right.
Now,
She said, "Hold on now."
How to Catch a Predator? I will die on that hill.
Right.
That
was a
no,
very
that
good
was a
show.
top show.
She was like, "What would you do?" That's what I was watching.
Very good show. Law and Order.
Do you know who I am?
Specifically.
She was like, I was watching Missing and X Files while you two were playing with the dolls and action figures. I was really in the trenches.
So I didn't watch a lot of individual kind of shows like that. I read a lot of books. So
Let's hear it. What was
I
the-
mean,
what was
my
the book
first
series?
like huge obsession was Harry Potter.
Okay.
I've read them way too much.
What's your favorite book?
I think my favorite book is Prisoner of Azkaban, but
Obviously.
favorite movie are both the Deathly Hallows. The last
Get
two.
out of here.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't read the books.
I haven't done it.
I didn't read the books. You haven't watched them?
I haven't watched all of it.
I've tried. Yeah,
I think you just get.
I've tried.
Just pin her down. You know?
Yeah, no, we got an agreement going on. I'm like, if I watch Star Wars and Harry Potter, you have to watch like
You
all
won't
my
regret
anime.
Star Wars.
You will
won't-
not.
You will not
I
regret
wouldn't. I told you guys, it blew my
I mean,
mind.
listen.
alright?
The new one, the old ones, they're kind of hard to sit through.
Yeah.
But the prequels and even the newer ones,
They're not bad.
They're not bad. Like
Yeah.
The Last Jedi was my favorite one of the new ones, and then Rogue One, of course.
Yeah, Rogue One was amazing.
People be talking like, "Oh, that's terrible." I'm like, "Boy,
It
if
was
you don't
amazing.
It was great.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anywho, Prisoner of Azkaban, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What? So you were into a lot of books. So did you rewatch a lot of the Harry Potter movies a lot? Like was that? Was that
Yeah, I
your
did.
team?
I also really like a lot of cartoons.
Yeah. Cartoon. Powerpuff Girls, maybe?
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Was
Love
always
Courage.
Yes.
I know. I seen that
Come
yesterday, and I was
on,
like, that is
show.
amazing.
Yeah.
This is more. He just more like he just got that face like.
I know.
Love him. Love Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Return.
I
the
love
slap.
Foster's.
Foster's was amazing.
Yeah,
as well.
Flapjack.
Yeah.
I was.
Flapjack was surprisingly
Misadventures
funny.
of Flapjack.
Yeah, that Jack
Very funny.
used to have me rolling.
Mine would be Mr. Rogers. Okay, don't sleep on him. Very calming.
Not at all.
Very
Yeah,
calming
no,
presence.
absolutely.
Bob
If you need a
Ross.
routine,
Yeah,
he's
He
your
got
guy.
you.
SpongeBob.
Oh,
Yes.
please, come on.
Top of the
Come on
line.
now.
Come on.
Come on now.
Always.
Come on now.
Come on. Don't get us
I
started.
remember
with
my
that.
mom tried to ban
Right.
SpongeBob in the house, and that was the one
Ban
time.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was one time all the kids were like, "We got to do something."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was not many
meeting in the room at
Flipping the
4.
couch over.
Yeah, it was
breaking
like,
tables.
listen, she seen the episode where he ripped his pants, and she was like, "What is going on?" And we were like,
Oh
"Listen,
my
listen, listen,
God.
listen."
It's
You
not,
can't-
it's not
listen to
even
the
like
song.
that. When Big Larry came in
Okay.
and put him down.
Like he don't even got no cheeks, ma. Like he's not even
He's
showing
He's a
nothing.
sponge, ma'am.
Yeah, like get off of his
Such
back.
a
man.
good episode too.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, babe? You got any shows that you were absolutely obsessed with, like these kids were?
I loved Rugrats growing up.
I love Rugrats.
Rugrats
That's a good
in
one.
Paris.
Oh my
That
God.
orange
So
VHS
sad.
tape.
Yeah, very sad.
Hey Arnold. That's a
Oh,
good one.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
Arnold.
Hey,
I
Arnold, for
actually
sure.
had Rugrats had like little like dolls. Like where you could put like they were animatronics pretty much, like they would crawl and they would like cry and all stuff. I had
It's
every
kinda
single
creepy.
one.
I got
Yeah.
little-
I had Tommy, I had Dill, I had all of them. The twins.
Who's your favorite baby?
Oh, Dill.
For
really?
sure.
Well, I really love Dill. Like, I mean, I know he came later in the season, but he was reckless. But my favorite baby was Tommy. He was just that guy.
I was a
like,
Chucky
what?
man.
Is that your favorite too?
Yeah. No, Chucky. I was
who
a
was yours?
Chucky man.
Probably Chucky.
Oh,
I'm afraid of
odd
everything. I was
man out
afraid of
here per the usual.
Phil or Lil?
Angelica.
She has an Angelica purse.
Hey, man. What are you talking
Angelica's
about?
mom, though, I wanted to be her so bad when I got older.
Okay, look. Talk about an icon.
Angelica.
Okay.
Yeah,
Talk about an icon.
Yeah.
Don't need a man.
What are you talking about, Angelica?
Angelica.
She was mean.
She was very mean.
Very mean.
Nobody paid attention to her.
Yeah, she just. It
There's
was because she
babies.
didn't get her
Yeah, well,
way. Mm-hmm.
That's why she was mean? Or
I
because
think so.
Well, I mean, you can't always get your way, right?
No, you
Well, she
can't.
didn't know that she was an only child to an
man.
icon. Like, what's
Tommy
Come
had the
on.
guts. He was gonna go in no matter what. And
Yeah.
I messed with that tough. I was like, yeah, let's go, bro.
Yeah,
like,
he had a DJ Khaled attitude.
Yeah.
Just always winning. Loved it.
How come they never knew what he kept in his diaper? Like all those tools.
yeah, he had
Yeah.
all
He only
That's
has the
concerning.
screwdriver.
Yeah.
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 Would you be concerned, B, if you like opened a diaper, your son's
Oh,
You like
yeah.
screwdriver.
When
Like,
Mason was that young, absolutely. Yeah.
You good?
Because what's going on? Yeah. And why?
I
It was just
mean,
to get out
that's
the
low
cage.
key. That's low key. He low key be on that type of time. Like we drop him off in the morning, he'd be like, "Look at all the toys I got in my pocket."
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
bro,
like,
he's like, "I'm
you're not
sneaking in
supposed
all
to
of
bring
this."
toys
Yeah.
to school.
He straight up tells us, "I'm sneaking in my Legos."
Gotta,
Like,
gotta
okay.
scan them with a
Yeah.
wand.
Yeah.
Make sure
No,
it's
be like, "What's in your
Seriously.
pocket now, man?" Like,
well, dang, man.
Yeah.
I'm holding for a friend.
What?
Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels? I ain't never heard of that.
we
Keep
ain't
that
never bought
Camaro.
you no hot. You remember? She hates a Camaro.
What? The car?
I'm a
She's
Dodge
a
girl.
She's a car.
Isn't that a
head.
Dodge?
I'm a,
Oh,
what?
it's a Chevy, right? My bad, dog.
I'm a Dodge girl.
My bad.
There's a wall.
All right, listen.
Yeah, there's some
Hey,
room.
hey, relax. I know exactly where it is, but don't press it. Okay. Oh, never mind. I was reading a question, so I just okay. I'm glad to know everybody's what everybody's sort of movie was or show was. I mean, if I had a little VHS, it probably would have been like Bad at School Bus too. That was a good one.
Oh, and that treasure one with the little pink blob. Remember the? And they had like boats that would fly in the sky, and the Atlantis. I think it was called Atlantis. Remember
Treasure Island?
Treasure Island.
Treasure Planet.
What? What is
I
that?
think it's Treasure Planet.
Planet Treasure.
Okay.
Something
now
like
I
that.
feel
It's
like
something like that.
I ain't never seen it, but I know what
No,
you're talking
but
about
you know
because
what I'm talking
Atlantis and Treasure
Yeah.
Planet were like the same movie.
It was like
And she's like, oh,
I don't know that.
it was dope, and it would have this little pink little flubber guy, and they would like skateboard, but it would be like in the-
Flubber? Wait, is this a show?
It was a cartoon. It was a movie.
Do you guys remember Fern Gully?
I ain't never watched that, but I do. I do.
I ain't never watched that.
Lucy actually looked at me. She said,
Iconic.
Makes sense.
Is that considered Disney?
She said, explains a
I
lot.
think Fern Gully is Disney.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be?
I don't know.
All right, let me get back on track. We done hit the 90-minute mark.
My bad.
Oh my God. No worries. I'm not gonna cut it down.
Take all of this. Take that. Take that.
Robin Williams.
So-
That's why.
So
Flubber?
Fern Gully. For Batty Coda. I guess that's who he played. RP.
that's his name.
RP.
Batty Coda.
Yeah, he was a
it
bat.
a little bat.
Oh, Batty, not
Batty.
Baddie.
No, not that.
Johnny, a little Batty. She a little boo.
I really want to make sure in the clip that you get all of that in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there for sure. All right, so Major. So I wrote down Major's upset when his mom takes away the tape. He breaks the picture of breaks the picture frame, throws the trophy to the ground, and then the mom starts yelling, saying, "Boy, don't you drop that."
Yeah.
And then it starts yelling at Major, and then Major starts crying. I'm like, typical.
Yeah.
Wrap this up.
Man, I was like, you know what? Do you deserve to get yelled at? I don't know. I'm not a parent, so how do you handle that situation, B?
Yeah. How you handle
Your
it?
son breaks a picture frame. He throws your prize trophy on the ground.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think I just want to start off by Mason knows better. So I'm just going to start there. I've never had any type of issue like that. My son is a great kid. I do get a little sassiness every now and again. But I just, look the other way about most things.
I'm gonna go.
That's just personality.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go play Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah, right. He's
Mind my business.
right. I'll be back at 20. Because I'm like, because I kind of get why he's acting out, right? Like his dad died, and I mean, even at the funeral, he wasn't really processing it. And I don't think any kid at that age can really process a death like that. So, but like, what do you? He's just like, and you know what? She's frustrated because she's also grieving. You know, like,
and I get that part. I get it because it's hard on both ends. You know what I mean? You lost your father. I lost my husband or spouse or whatever, you know what I mean? And the relationships that we have with this mutual person is different on both ends. So it's going to affect you differently, just like it affects me differently.
Yeah.
She mentioned a lot of things like, oh, well, the bills and this and that, you know what I mean? Where he's just like, hey, I just want my dad.
Yeah.
And then you also being the only parent now have to explain like, hey, you have to explain death to a child, which isn't always, the easiest thing to do. So.
I think she did a good job of trying to explain it. I was like, man, I should write that down for the future. Anywho, just in case, you never know. He's watching this tape obsessively. Major is watching this tape obsessively, and she's like, "Go touch some grass." That's what she basically tells him. And he's like, no, he's yelling and stuff like that. And then she breaks the TV. I said, why didn't you just unplug it?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I got that wrapped around. So she takes the TV or the VHS. The TV starts coming on at night.
Yeah.
And she's trying to turn it off. And then she breaks it.
Yeah.
TVs weren't cheap back in the day.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and that was a pretty sized TV.
Yeah.
I said, I would have just unplugged it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why she threw it
honestly,
to the ground.
I probably would have went back to the room anyway. Like, I don't think I'm a circle back.
Just hit mute.
Hit mute. Let that TV do what it's doing. I need to go to sleep. I'm my own parent.
Would you have just let Major keep watching the thing?
No.
You know, like
No, she said something along the lines of like he was watching it for days.
Yeah.
So you got to shut that down.
Yeah.
Days.
not. I mean, he had different clothes on.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like. You eat breakfast, then you watching it. Then, you know what I'm saying, you take a shower for the day, put your clothes on, then you watching it. Like, you don't have to moderate.
Well, and then my thing about that is Mason has, I think kids get these little niches of things that they like. So Mason had like a troll phase where that's all I watched.
Can't stop the feeling.
Yeah.
It's a banger.
Didn't matter which one. That's
a banger
all we
of a movie.
watched. You know what I mean? So I get that point, but it does get to a point where you're like, wrap this up. It's all right. If I'm knowing all the songs and the words, I'm buying the toys.
I mean, we doing
whenever
it to
you're done, we're ready.
I mean, we even moderate ourselves. Like sometimes I'll be on Instagram like I've been on this mug way too long. I need to get off.
I gotta start setting those little windows, man. I mean, boy, just scrolling,
just going. Yeah. So I mean, at the rate he was consuming it, I can understand her being like, all right. You ain't been outside in a minute. I mean, you used to ask to go outside. Now you're just sitting here watching this creepy man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that he was hypnotizing? Do you think there was like some type of hypnosis with that show, or it was just like Oscar-worthy television?
I thought it was a hypnosis thing.
Because like they were definitely hypnotized when they got there, but like they didn't have like that little scrambled TV eye thing. So I wasn't sure if he was like, ooh, or if he was like, if the show was actually good. Because I mean, if it's like
I don't know. I feel like it could have been some of both. I feel like to a degree he probably was hypnotizing them to want to keep watching it, but then actually hypnotize them to stay. Maybe that's the like extent of his power. Like I can make you. They definitely
wouldn't stay if they.
Yeah, like I can make you stay sitting here watching this TV. Like maybe his hypnosis is a staying power.
You might be onto something because I really wasn't sure. We did answer the question on why we think Mr. Crocket didn't kill the mom. So she's so Major goes missing basically, and she's putting up all these flyers and such, and they eventually get back to the woman who lost her child in the beginning, who's now homeless, and she has all these TVs in a tent. I said, now how the hell
did I not say that?
Yo, that was the first thing
where's she getting all this electricity from?
who is she siphoning?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, and it looked like her thing was in somebody's yard, but
Yeah,
I just don't think anybody would be allowed that.
No.
Power bill is going
I'm like,
crazy
who
for
is
somebody.
she's got like 10 TVs stacked to the
Yeah.
brim.
Yeah, all types
She's
of
doing
adapters
cauterizing and
yeah.
stuff.
I know,
with the-
yeah.
I said, man, she better have been an electrician before she
That
went.
person's
know what I'm
power
saying?
bill, whose ever lawn that was,
Gone.
probably could not figure it out.
Stop.
Gone.
She's yelling at the kids. Stop leaving the goddamn TV on when you go to sleep. It's like, it's not me,
It's
man.
not me. Bruh, man.
Unplug everything.
Bruh,
Gotta call the power
tell
couple.
you. Yeah.
It's like she stole a Radio Shack's worth
Yeah.
of supplies.
No,
basically.
she really did.
Shout out to Radio Shack.
And she was hunting that man down.
Shout out to
She was
Ray.
like, I'm gonna find him.
So did she have like so? How was she was okay? So if I understand this correctly, she was figuring out who Mr. Crocket was or where he was by
Right.
like gaining the signal of wherever he was playing the show, and then using something spiritually to
like,
because I didn't fully understand that because like the TV itself because it's on a VHS, so it's not like public access radio. You know what I mean? It's not like PBS. So
right.
I was a little lost on that. Did she have like a tuner? Like, well, how was
Yeah.
she? How was she?
I was very lost by that. The hunting of Mr. Crocker confused the fuck out of me.
Mr. Crocker.
Oh, you said the
I
goddamn
said
Fairies. Mr. Crocker. That boy had a weird shaped head. Every time I look at
But
I
that
was
was
like,
also
why
a
was his ears on
top
his neck?
kids show.
No, it was. But I love Fairly Odd Parents.
I love Fairy Odd Parents. Mr. Crocket.
Yeah, Mr. Crocket.
Yeah.
I still use Dinkelberg at work.
Please.
People pissing me off.
Doug Dimmadome.
Home of the Dimmadome. Blubber nuggets.
He's literally in my phone as Doug Dimmadome.
Dim Chewy.
But
That
the
sounds real
hunting, the trying.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it. I didn't get how they even located him. I don't get the flashes. I don't understand his way of hunting, the kids
I
out.
think he just got like a deal with the devil. Because like during his story, he was saying that like, oh, but I wasn't really dead. And then he did like that whole circle with a star in the middle thing. So I think he's got like some type of deal with the devil where he'll
He
bring
said that.
bring him bodies,
Like, oh, go to this street.
Yeah, yeah.
They need you over there.
He said he gave him a magical because I was like, dude, where are they getting this VHS from? I thought like people were like buying
But
it.
did you have you ever seen that where they do the share book and people in neighborhoods? Like that was a real thing.
Wow,
That is a
man.
very, very real thing.
You're
like
so full of knowledge, man.
thank you guys.
I grew up in a very like nasty town. Like there weren't no books. There wasn't no book.
Nobody was out there
giveaways.
reading. We just out there surviving.
Had a Big Papa's restaurant and two liquor stores. You know what I mean?
Alrighty.
It was gloomy.
All right.
I'm not saying it's a trauma dump, but I'm just saying like her school sound cool. I like to
Well,
go
I mean,
like
it wasn't.
that.
Well, see, that's the thing. It wasn't just it wasn't a school thing. It's a neighborhood thing.
Yeah.
So like they would just have like very specific mailboxes on like certain parts of the street where people can donate books. So you would donate a book if you like. It was like if you take one, leave one kind of thing. So that was really cool to see them utilize in the movie because it was a real thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like it would be cool to have probably like as African Americans, that's something we're afraid of. Like what we're welcoming.
Reading?
No.
No, that is not.
It's what I mean. I'm not
Words, literature, grammar, spelling.
That's
No,
horrible.
Spelling.
vocabulary.
Stop. That
I
is horrible.
I wasn't saying that we were afraid of reading, but she said that was something that black people are afraid of. And I said I was asking it as a question, like they're afraid of reading.
No.
but no.
But I meant by black community not reading. What I meant by is what we're welcoming into our home. Because I feel like if the parents never went and grabbed this DVD in a sense,
Yeah.
it's almost like a vampire kind
Yeah,
of.
why would you grab that?
Why
it's
would
just
you
sitting
grab
in
it?
front of your house. It's not like
Yeah.
a mailbox. It's
Yeah,
just
it
like-
wasn't there before, but see, that's how those things used to just pop up in the
Really?
community. Yeah.
You just pop it.
It would just pop up.
Lawn?
It would be not necessarily in somebody's like
I'd have
lawn,
kicked that thing. Like, boy, I feel-
but some people did. Some people put it in their lawn because they had like so many books, like,
Wow.
and they would make these like little libraries, like community libraries, like right on someone's cul-de-sac in a sense, and you would just take a book, leave a book. So I thought it was a pretty cool idea of how he was casually so like invited. Because honestly, let's be real, if a creepy black man was like, "Let me in your house," blah blah, ain't nobody gonna. I mean,
I
not
mean, it
even
wasn't
us.
really even creepy, low key.
Everything you do sounds like the leprechaun when you.
I have been traumatized.
Got it.
They're
can't
out there,
shake
man,
it.
like a charms.
I can't shake it. He was
I
a
can't shake
fearful character.
She waking up tonight.
looking low. What's that green thing over there?
It's a box of Lucky Charms with her nightstand.
Just punch it.
It's like, I'm back.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I mean, aside from the deaths and the creative nature of Mr. Crocket, I thought it was pretty good. I hope people watch it because I would like to see a sequel because I think the sequel has potential just based on the ending of where it went. So I would really like to see where they take that, maybe. But yeah, I didn't really have any other thoughts on this. Do you have any other thoughts? Would you like to rate it or say, give any final tips or any?
Tips.
I don't
That's
know.
crazy.
I don't know. I don't know about tips, but just any final
like,
thoughts.
final thoughts?
Moral of the stories for this movie.
Probably. I feel like if it goes to a part 2, we need more lore. We need more. Like, it was cool to get his see where he came from and why he's doing it.
Yeah.
But probably build him up more as like a character.
What he was doing in the 80s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Slashing and dashing.
And what's the goal
like
now? You know what I'm saying? Like, did the devil, part of the devil, you got to have so many kids? You know what I mean? Or like,
He like, your quota's 6, Mr.
yeah,
Crocket.
like
You
what
ain't even
is
hit
it?
your
You
quota
know
this
what I'm
month.
saying?
I'm gonna take you back
Or
to
like,
hell.
honestly, like what is Satan getting out of this? You
What's
know
your
what I'm
SLA?
saying?
You know
Like,
what I mean? Like,
you know what I mean? Like, what is
he's
the
getting dead
purpose?
parents. I guess more parents. I guess more dead.
But he's
I don't
not
know.
killing a parent every time.
I mean,
So,
more dead men. Maybe I don't
He's
know
also
what is.
completely in half.
Yeah.
So
He's
Unless
not dead.
He's gonna pull
Okay.
himself
Because
together.
and that was another thing. I was like, I don't think that anybody can really kill him. It has to be like some sort of
Or can he be
seance.
killed?
I don't think he can.
They
'Cause,
said that about
the-
Freddy Krueger.
He ain't dead, is he?
no.
Yeah.
I mean, but he gets pretty wrecked. Like,
I haven't seen any.
So
of them,
does Jason.
yeah,
Yeah.
so does Jason.
So
But
does,
you know,
so does
Jason,
Michael Myers.
Jason-
So does Ghostface. I mean, they all die actually, but
Yeah,
they just
they
keep
do.
coming back.
They do.
All right. Well, that was a ton of fun. Thank you both
Yeah,
for
thank you.
showing up to this episode. I really appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe because I always forget to say that on my show.
Oh, that's cute.
Like and subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube,
You're
Apple, iHeart, Amazon. We're everywhere, man. That was a lot of hard work. So
Yeah.
don't make me regret it. Anywho.
you been
You better go watch this, boy. I swear to God. Taking time on my Sundays. I'm missing the Bears game
Yeah. Whatever.
for this. Anywho, follow the Movie Matchmaker podcast at 3M Pod. That's THREEM POD on TikTok and Instagram. You can also find us on YouTube at the Movie Matchmaker podcast. And you can follow me on Instagram at my name's Jailon and on TikTok at Y2J, WHYTWOJAI. Would you like to plug anything, perhaps? A small business or a
Small business.
we don't got nothing yet.
a mom and pop?
Again, mom and pop. No, we ain't got nothing yet.
Do not have a
We don't
small
have
business.
Small business. or
Cool,
anything.
cool. Maybe you just want to shout out one that you really like. You don't have to. You don't be forced to think about it. I was-
Now you got me
that was a
thinking.
joke. That was a joke.
The coffee class.
Yeah,
Oh, what's
we
that?
do. It's a little.
You do a little
coffee
barista
place.
class?
No,
Oh.
that's the
It's
name of
actually-
the coffee place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, y'all
We do
taking
love it.
barista
It's amazing.
classes.
We do love
Especially
the
if you
coffee
love
class.
matcha.
It's a little earthy for me. Not into
It's
it.
an acquired taste.
Yeah.
I've been using that a lot. So shout out to you for that. Yeah.
An acquired taste.
Yeah.
Wow, look at my wife putting people on.
Okay.
And my other wife
Vocabulary,
with her lover.
grammar, words.
Yeah, spelling, reading. Read some books, everybody.
Read some books.
Yes.
Black people do read, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do,
They
okay?
definitely read.
Lots of
I
them.
read. Everybody
they're
reads.
right.
So
They
do
do
I.
a lot of stuff.
I apologize if I offended anybody. The
Oh,
joke was
maybe I
there,
should too.
and I wanted to hit. I wanted to
Yeah.
hit it out the park. All right. Well, that's been the longest episode of the Movie Matchmaker podcast I have ever recorded. Pretty much. Be safe. Have fun. Keep listening. Keep watching, and we will see you next time.